Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in for the session today. We understand that it's been quite a short notice for this session. However, we thought of having it before the applications for students ends on the 5th of December, so that the last few doubts that we've been getting, especially regarding proposals and also some regarding, say, the goodies that you'll be receiving for Winter of Code, or what are the organizations, their mentors, and definitely proposal is one of the main things here today. So, a little bit about myself. I am Rajrita Nath. I'm the lead at DSC NSCC, that is organizing Winter of Code this year. Apart from that, I'm available on most of social networks or by the name of Rajrita. You could reach out to me on any one of those. I am considerably active on Twitter. Um, so how does the program work? A brief idea before we go on to the primary objective of today's session regarding the proposals is you apply as a student, you get paired with the organizations that are there listed on our website and on the form that you're using to apply. And also there'll be like this phase one, phase two, and finally the successful students will be announced. And then obviously there's a token of appreciation from our end to you, something for the top contributors, something for everybody, certificates for all. Um, so with this application as a student, um, as you've seen in our website, there are countless numbers of organizations that have come in with wonderful mentors. Mentors like, say, Shayagda, who's the Google developer expert in machine learning. Apart from that, we also have seniors from our college who are now established in various different places, and startups that are actually performing in real world applications. They've applied to Winter of Code, and also there are a lot of beginner friendly projects, say from a lot of DSCs, say DSC IEM, DSC NSCC, NIT Rourkela, a lot of other places too. So all of that information is available, and along with the organizations that are applying, we also have listed down the projects that are coming up with those organizations in a very systematic manner, so that it's easier for you to understand the particular ones that you'll be choosing to go ahead with. Um, Now, when we talk about writing a proposal, the number one question that has come up to us on our social media channels is what should be the format that you follow with your proposal, and what are the things that you need to include. And we've had a session before which was primarily focused on Google Summer of Code and its proposals, which was taken by my ex-lead Anubhav Singh. It's there on our YouTube channel, probably the last video before this. But that's mostly dedicated towards Google Summer of Code and helping you crack it over there. Winter of Code is like initiative from our end to mock that platform and to help it become more beginner friendly and to give you an idea of how it happens. And so we understand if your proposals are not something as hi-fi as say Google Summer of Code, but we would like to give you the sections that you can be having into your proposal. So we'll start with the contact information. You could take a screenshot of this, or in fact, the entire slide deck is available at go.dscnscc.com/slides. The link will be shown in this video also, and it will be kept in the description box. All of the links that we're discussing today will be kept there. So yes, so you start with your contact information, a brief, fast details about yourself, your name, the email IDs, your phone number, all of these places. And then after that, you come to your project proposal brief, which is basically a very short summary of everything that you'll be including in your proposal later. So coming to that, so say resume, your brief introduction, and your social links. These are a must to help the project mentors know you better and to understand the background that you're coming from and how it aligns wonderfully with their project objectives. And after that, you need the related experiences if you have any of the project that you're applying to, whether you've implemented the code over somewhere else, say you've done some research internship in any other place where you've utilized that concept, or say in other open source places that you've used, and you could maybe have something similar. So the person who's taking you as the student for that a particular time period understands the background that you're coming from and gets a brief idea about what you can contribute to that place and your impact that is going to be. After that, you need to also mention why would you choose that particular project in Winter of Code, which is basically to give a brief idea to the mentors as to what is that particular point in those projects that has caught your attention, and you feel that this is one of the primary points where you can create an impact in this program. Then comes your actual proposal, and regarding this, what I'll do is, after this we have Soham, who has been a student at Winter of Code 2019, and he's also been a student at Google Summer of Code. So he'll be the best person to describe his proposal based on his technical standpoints over there, and you also get to see a sample proposal over there. Then after that, the project timeline is another a very important doubt that has come up to us a lot of many times. It basically tells you that you have a timeline on a website, right? You understand when the phase one is happening, the evaluations that are coming and taking place over there. So you need to sort of give like a guideline to the mentor, is as I'll be completing this and this task through this and this time period, so the final objective is met. So the person understands your time frame, and when I talk about time frame, you need to also mention your commitments and availability to help in the transparency of the communication between you and the organization, as so that they know the times you're available, and that way the work gets distributed. Apart from that, we are there on Telegram with t.me/dscnsec. We are there on Discord. The link will again be shown in the video of go.dscnsec.com/discord, where you'll be learning more. If you have any quick questions regarding Winter of Code, you can shoot it out over there, and someone from the team is definitely going to reach out to you. Apart from that, before handing it over to Soham, I would like to mention over here that this is one proposal that we are sharing, the sample proposal. The earlier proposal that we had shared was a sample proposal for Google Summer of Code, which was shared by Anubhav Singh. This is another one that has been submitted by Soham in the year 2019. We also understand that a lot of people might be coming up from absolute beginner levels, and you would maybe need, not just for the sake of being a beginner, but also maybe some other proposal which deals with a different tech stack to understand how the process works in different domains, right? So for that, keep a lookout tomorrow, that is on the 4th of December, on all our socials, say on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. We'll be sharing a few other sample proposals with you so that you get to understand all of those things and get like a last minute checkup before you finally submit your proposal on the last date is till 5th of December. So with that, I'll be um, adding over Soham to the stream so that he can take it up from here.
Hey everyone, thank you Rajvita for having me here. Rajvita has already introduced me a bit, so like if I want to give a little more introduction, then I would say I'm currently the ML team lead at DSCIM. I've worked as a DSOC student for Python Software Foundation this year, and I was a Winter of Code student in 2019, and this year I'm participating as a mentor. So let me just quickly go through my proposal that I submitted last year. And let me just tell you a brief introduction or a brief idea of how you should be writing it. Okay. So here we see the first page of the proposal. So here you can see that it basically has the project title along with the contents. Okay. Now the contents that is something that you should like have in your proposal, because it allows the mentor to easily navigate through your document, right? So let's first go to the first uh, heading, that is your contact information. Now this is the place where you should mention all the relevant places or relevant social media links where your mentor can reach out to you, or your mentor can actually look at what you have done previously. So these are some basic details about yourself, like your name, your country, your college, your degree that you are pursuing, your email, GitHub, LinkedIn, and any other uh, or any particular let's say communication channel that you're using with that org, for example Slack, and in this case I think we're using Discord. So you should also mention that particular username. Now a thing with Discord is it's a bit different, it's not just your username. So I would just ask I would just like to share my screen, the entire screen, just for a second. uh, yeah. So basically in Discord what happens is you need to mention this particular tag as well. Okay, just mentioning your username won't help. You also need to mention this particular digit, that's the phone number digit, okay, along with that hashtag, because that uniquely identifies what your account is. Okay, And also, if you have any other nicknames, for example, I have Soham as my nickname in this particular server, so you should also mention that. Okay. Now let's get back to the proposal. Um, I hope it's visible. Yeah. Okay. So next we have is the proposal brief. Okay. So here what I've done is I've basically listed the ideas in brief, what I'll be explaining in my proposal, right? So it's basically the headlines you could say, and it's nothing in detail right as of now. So basically my project was working uh, on a it was a search engine, basically a multimedia search engine. So my project was to work on the back end of it. Okay. So my job was to improve the crawler that was supposed to crawl all the information from the web, and to improve the indexer, so that someone who's searching for a particular item, they can easily search that particular word and get the necessary information from it. Okay. So that was my basic project. Now, apart from that project, I also added some additional ideas which I thought could be useful or could implement or it could improve that particular project, right? So this wasn't mentioned in the ideas list. This was something which I proposed. So you can also do that in this particular section, right? This will basically contain all the headlines that you would be explaining later on in the detailed project description, in the proposal description. Sorry. And after that you have the about me section. Here you would basically list your resume if you have one, and in the brief introduction you would basically flex your skills, or you would say what kind how your skills will be helpful in this particular project, or how you expect you to be someone who's going to help the project in the long run. Okay. So once you're done with this, you again you can again like post your social profiles here. Next, what you need to show is your related experience with that particular project. Like for example, in this case, I had to work with like computer vision stuff, because the indexer was a multimedia indexer. Therefore, I had to implement some sort of computer vision to it, and also the crawler part required a special condition in which it would go through different proxies, so that when a particular IP is banned, that crawler can independently switch its IP address, right? So these were the projects that I worked on before applying for Winter of Code. So I listed them here so that my mentor has an idea of what background I'm from and whether I will be capable of achieving that. So this is basically a brief introduction of whatever you have done previously. Maybe it could be a personal project that you worked on, which is very similar to the project you're applying to, right? So it doesn't have to be a work experience or anything. It can be anything. Like it could be a simple project that you worked on, or you're enthusiastic about that particular topic, or maybe you have written different blogs about it, and anything that basically gives the mentor an idea that you are very much experienced with it. Like not completely expert, but you have an idea of what you're talking about, right? Next is a brief introduction of why I'm choosing that particular project for Winter of Code. So here I wouldn't recommend you to write a long paragraphs. Okay, just get it to the point. There's no need to write uh, too long essays. Okay. Next is the actual proposal. Now, my ideas had two different parts, right? So if I go back, it first had the crawler part, and the other was the indexer part. So now I go into depth on and how am I supposed to achieve whatever I'm trying to achieve, right? So first I have the crawler part. So my job was to perform database migration from SQLite database to PostgreSQL database, right? So I give a basic idea of what I'm going to do. I'm going to basically replace the SQLite 3 library with the PostgreSQL one, and I've also given a small snippet of how I'm supposed to achieve that, right? See, and in case of code snippets, it doesn't need to be very detailed. You could basically give a pseudocode to make like to give the mentor an idea of what you're trying to achieve. Okay. My second work was to avoid repetition of links. So there was a condition where the crawler would uh, go in a loop if like if there were inbound links. For example, let's say there's Facebook, right? And if you click on the Facebook icon, it goes back to Facebook again. So there was an issue where the crawler would go again, like would crawl through Facebook again and again without stopping. So I had to provide an idea of avoiding that particular issue. So for that, I basically mentioned a simple algorithm which I would apply so that that particular issue can be resolved. So in this case, I did not mention any snippet because the algorithm itself was self explainable. So I did not go into the details of it. Uh, so the thing about technical detail, like now you might be asking how technically detailed should my proposal be. It completely depends on your convenience. Okay, like if you think that it's convenient for you to give code snippets, then you should go with code snippets. In case of let's say it's a design project, so maybe you have to design a particular UI element, or let's say a particular page, for example. So in that case, what you can do, you can provide screenshots of, like, let's say wireframes, or uh, basically any sort of prototype you can give here, so that the mentor has an idea of what you're uh, trying to say. uh, Finally, so these were the different types of, I'm not going into details much. So this is basically how you can do it, right? First you like mention the main idea that we were talking about. Let's say in this case it was crawler. Then I go to the subheadings, that is the database migration and the avoiding of link repetition. And then when I go deeper into that, I provide much uh, improved details about it. Okay, so this is basically the proposal that I had. So after all of this is done, this is the most important part of a proposal, that is the project timeline. So the main point of project timeline is to make sure your mentor knows what you are doing, when you are doing, and how you're doing it. Okay, so it's very important that whatever ideas you're mentioning here has a definite start point and an end point. Okay, now this can be done in two different ways. Either you can go in day-to-day basis, like for example I'm here, done here. You can see I have mentioned the community bonding period, which in my time was from 22nd to 25th October, where I've written some points where I would focus on during this period. Then comes phase one, which was from this date to this date, where I've written that I would research and discuss about the topics we worked on, which I will take 2 days to do it. Then I would set up the working environment on my laptop. I will take 1 day. Then similarly, I do something similar to that in phase. Then I also mentioned, also you should also mention the evaluation periods as well, along with whatever ideas we're trying to post. Okay, so basically I had my first phase, then I have my first evaluation. So I mention all the ideas that I will be working on during that time. Then I have my second phase where where I've also mentioned all the ideas that I will be working on. And then I have the second evaluation, and which was the final evaluation, and you are done with it, right? Now, this is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is to do it in a weekly basis. Okay, so let me just check if it's working. No. Okay, let me just quickly share another tab. This one, is it visible? Yeah. Okay, so this is my GSOC proposal for this year. Now, if I go back to my project timeline, this is my weekly, like it's a week to week proposal format. Okay, sorry, a project timeline format. So you can also do this in this manner as well, where I've mentioned individual weeks like this, and then I've mentioned what I'll be working on during that particular week. So this is another idea, another way of doing it. You can be creative in your own way, but just make sure that whatever you're working on is very clear about what you're working on, when you are doing it, and how you're doing it, so that the mentor has an idea that whether you're currently on time or are you lagging behind. Because during evaluations, the mentor has to evaluate you, right? So that in order to like either pass you or fail you. So your mentor should have an idea that at this particular time this particular feature will be implemented. So you need to give that particular assurance to your mentor that during this time you will be able to solve this. Now you must be asking, what if I run out of time, right? So in that case, what you should do is you should add some buffer time, right? For example, in my previous one, um, in my winter of code proposal, you can see I've added an entire day for setting the working environment on my laptop, which is obviously not true, right? It would hardly take me 2 to 3 hours to set up my working environment, but still I've mentioned 1 day, so that in case something goes wrong, I can actually uh, utilize that particular buffer time to fix any sort of mishap that I've had. So this is, you have to keep in mind to have enough buffer time there. Okay. And finally, after the project timeline, you have the commitments and the availability part. So here, basically, you will be mentioning whether you have any vacations that you want to attend, or if you're working on a different internship during that particular period. And you will also be mentioning what will your working hours, whether you'll be working from 6 to 10 or 3 to 5, or how long you'll be working each day during that particular uh, winter of code period. So this particular area should be clear of, like, there shouldn't be any miscommunication between you and your mentor key. You were working on something else, but the mentor was expecting you to be working at that particular moment, but you weren't available. So those situations should be avoided using this particular section. Like, you should mention everything clearly here. Now, finally, you might ask, how do I know my proposal is good, or is it good enough or not, right? So the best thing is to make sure you get your proposal reviewed by your mentor before the final submission, because after all, your proposal will be selected by your mentors, right? So it's up to your so it should be crafted according to your mentor's preference. So you should always get your proposals reviewed first by your mentors, and then like submit it for final submission. Now, another thing that you can do is, let's say the project ideas that you had uh, is not necessary to take up the entire period, right? For example, let's say the crawler project, let's say, for example, was enough for me to finish it in phase one, and let's say I have some time left. So what you can do is you can add some stretch goals. You can add an additional like section on your proposal, which can state that once I'm done with my actual project idea, I can also work on these particular features, apart from my winter of code, like, project idea. Okay. So that is actually a very good thing, because it shows that you are very sincere about the project, and you're just not just here because of winter of code, and you are actually interested in contributing to that project. So if you think that there's some particular idea that you would like to add later on, you can also mention that in stretch goals. So that is something which is very useful, I would say. So yeah, that's all. I mean, that's all you need in order to write a complete proposal.
Thank you so much, Soham, for being ready to take the session on such short notice. A special
You're welcome.
mention and shout out to DSC IEM. Please follow their channels. Everybody from DSC NSCC and others are watching it now or will watch it later. They have amazing sessions all around the year and amazing people in their team like Soham and all of the other people in their team. With that, another thing I would like to highlight with Winter of Code is there are a lot of comments coming in regarding getting their proposals reviewed. We are trying our best to link your proposals to the mentors, and so that we can get some form of feedback sent to you. However, we would also like to mention that our team is working on a million other things also, so it might be difficult and probably not possible to do that very thoroughly, but we are trying our best. And in any circumstances, we are trying to make this program so beginner friendly that if we see the effort that you've put in your proposal, whether it's right, it's wrong, whatever the conditions are, we're trying to absorb you into one or the other organization. And I'm pretty sure organizations, say DSC, IEM, and NSCC, they'll be there to absorb you and to let you work on our projects. And apart from that, top contributors in all of the projects get something or the other. It's displayed on our website, whether it's say goodies or it's say ebooks from Manning Publications or 500 credits on Quick Labs for your Google Cloud platform. All of those are there. And apart from that, we definitely will have stickers and a certificate for everybody who's participating in Winter of Code. With that, thank you so much for coming along over here. And we'll take all your questions on our Discord channels or on any of our socials. Thank you so much.
Thank you.